Hello, and thank you for joining me for this presentation where we'll be discussing online safety in the home. This is brought to you by OnlineSafetySolutions.net, providers of the My Cyber Shield Internet filter. My name is Brad, and I live with my family out in the Arizona Central Valley. Living out in the desert, you learn that there are certain dangers. We have desert thunderstorms, which can move very quickly, dump a ton of water, and have winds up to 50 miles an hour. We also have dust storms, which can reduce visibility and be very dangerous, especially if you're driving. We have poisonous snakes and insects like this bark scorpion here. These little guys love to come into your home after a heavy rain. Then, of course, we have the high desert heat, the most dangerous of all. But hey, at least we can use our cars as ovens to bake cookies. Like the desert, the internet also has many dangers, and it's up to each of us to understand what they are so that we can deal with them and keep our families safe. This presentation is part of a multi-part video series, the first part being on the dangers of online pornography and what to do about it. In later sessions, we'll talk about malware and viruses, how to recognize them and how to remove them from your computer. We'll talk about dangerous apps and how to manage mobile devices. And we'll also discuss the threats as it pertains to social networking and online posting. So let's talk about pornography. My wife and I have an opportunity to travel the country, and we've talked to many of you about this. And so we know it's at the top of your concern list. And as well it should be. Pornography is very harmful. It warps ideals about sex and relationships, and in that way it destroys families. It also leads to violence, and it's extremely addictive. And like any other addiction, it escalates. Those that are addicted to pornography are never completely satisfied, and they're always going back for greater shock value. There's a great site over at fightthenewdrug.org. I invite you to visit that site and read up on the many dangerous effects of pornography. I think one of the biggest problems with pornography is just how accessible it is. It's certainly much more accessible than it was when I was a child. A recent CBS News poll said that 60%, almost 70% of children that have seen internet porn said that it was unsolicited. They weren't even looking for it. I came across some additional sobering statistics here that I'd like to share with you. The first one being that the average age of first internet exposure to pornography is just 11 years old, and that's the average. That means that many of these kids are younger, perhaps much younger. Of the 8 to 16-year-olds, 90%, most of them, have viewed pornography while online. Also, most of them while doing homework. Pornography doesn't just affect our kids. It affects the young and the old, the religious and the non-religious. There's a group of people out there, a group of men, they call themselves the Promise Keepers. It's a great organization, and they promise to live a higher standard, a higher Christian standard. Even with these men, however, in a recent poll, 53% of them admitted to viewing pornography online in the last week. And with the women, 9.4 million women access adult websites each month. So whether this affects you directly, chances are it affects someone you love directly. So what can we do about it? Wouldn't it be great if we could protect our families with a single download or a single click, like with a super safety app? Well, unfortunately, there's no such thing as a super safety app. And like protecting your home, keeping your internet safe is a multi-solution approach. It used to be that you could do a pretty good job monitoring internet activity by putting the computer in a common area. But this method, although is still a good idea, doesn't really apply any longer because of all the laptops and mobile devices that we have. Nowadays, computers move freely throughout the house. So what do we suggest? Let's start with parents. Parents have the responsibility to educate themselves about the online dangers and the effects of pornography. And this helps them to answer important questions or to give the right guidance if they're faced with a dilemma. I'd like to share a quick story with you that I think applies. I have a good friend who, when he was a young man, went on a Boy Scout campout. And one of the other boys had brought a pornographic magazine. When the Scoutmaster found out about this, you may guess that he became very angry, but he didn't. Instead, he gathered the boys around and had an open discussion with them about pornography. He told them that pornography degrades and cheapens women. He said that it would change the way that they looked at women. He also told them that as they get older and start looking for a wife, that they definitely don't want the kind of woman portrayed in those magazines. This had a powerful influence on my friend, where he never forgot that experience, and it helped him to shape a more healthy perspective about pornography. Parents need to have this kind of conversation with their children. They also need to insist on having complete access to any internet devices and should inspect them regularly. Parents should realize that they are both legally and morally responsible for any content that comes into their homes, whether that be through the internet or through the front door. The fact that you're listening to this presentation says that you're taking steps in the right direction. Keep it up. You're doing important work. Another important way that you should be protecting your family against pornography is with a good web filter. We at Online Safety Solutions have a filter that's the best in the industry. It's called My Cyber Shield. But whether you go with our filter or someone else's, let's cover some of the important things you need to look for. The first being the database. You want to make sure that it's updated. A web filter is only as good as its database. A good database will make sure that you're not overblocked or underblocked. I guarantee that if you're overblocked and you're not able to get to sites that you need to get to, that you won't keep that web filter very long. The next being non-SSL searching. There is no way to block pornographic images if you don't have a way of blocking these encrypted search engine sites. Image search filter. It'll block images inside of Google or Bing that come from blocked sites. Alerts will notify you of suspicious activity. Access schedules give you the ability to change the level of access based on time of day. Or you can use them to shut off the internet at night. Parental overrides give you the ability to provide needed oversight. Be sure to have peer-to-peer sites blocked. A useful report that we offer is the Search Engine Query Report. It's important because it shows you what your family members are searching for on the internet. You'll want scheduled reports that come to you on a daily or weekly basis. And then you'll need outstanding customer service. When it comes to your internet access, you want someone you can count on if there's ever a problem. Here are a list of safeguards against pornography. We've already talked about the first 4. The next one on our list is to disable cellular data. Cell phone providers make no attempt to filter the internet, and they make it very hard for you to do so. We recommend that for your kids that you disable the cellular data. They can still make and receive calls and texts, and they can get on the internet once they get home and they hop on your protected network. Next, regulate internet usage. Use that parental control and turn the internet off at night. Finally, you need to live the standard. Be prayerful about it. Listen carefully to the promptings that you receive and act on them. Once again, we thank you for joining us for this presentation, and we commend you for the valuable work that you're doing in keeping your family safe on the internet. We hope that you found this information to be valuable and that you feel better prepared to succeed with online safety in your home. Please share this presentation with others. Until next time, take care and be safe.